Hello and welcome to another edition of Active Living. Today we're very fortunate to have two veterans with us. We're coming up to Memorial Day here soon. So we have Chuck Haskin and Michael Racer here from the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Welcome to our show, gentlemen.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
And so we're here to talk a little bit about Veterans Day. We're here to talk about your service, and we'd like to first of all thank you for your service. But Michael, tell us a little bit about your adventures while you were in the service. Were you in the Army, I assume?
I was in the Army. I received my draft notice in April of '70, and went downtown just 30 days after my wedding, and I had to do some sweet goodbyes in a hurry.
Wow!
But I went to Fort Knox for my basic training. From there, they sent me to Fort Gordon, Georgia for advanced individual training, where I was a 31 Mike, which was converted to, after 8 weeks of that, 5 weeks of 31 November. I was a tactical circuit controller and went to Vietnam as that.
Now, what's a tactical circuit controller? What does that mean?
Radios have to have wires that come out of them after they receive a signal. And it goes to almost like I want to say switchboard, but it's more tactical than that because I can maneuver circuits all around to different areas.
I remember seeing some stuff from Vietnam, and you'd have these radio guys out in the field with these boxes on their back, calling in the helicopters and stuff like that. Were you one of the guys that were receiving those calls coming in?
I was afraid I might be one. Like in the old series Combat.
Yeah.
When they would have the radios on their backs and these antennas running through the... No, it's nothing like that.
It wasn't like that at all.
It's a huge van that fits on the back of a deuce-and-a-half truck.
Okay.
And inside are several radio stacks, tube radios from World War II, which is what they gave us to fight the war with.
Right.
Those signals, you don't change tubes when something goes bad. You just pull out a drawer and throw in another one. Boom, all right, we're good to go.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right.
Things have to move fast when you're in the field.
So who were you communicating with? People in the field?
From the Delta to the DMZ was our motto.
Okay.
We had FM radios, we had tropo antennas, microwave.
Okay.
We were trained pretty well for 6 months in country, and the second lieutenant came to me and says, we're going to have a secret operation. And secret it was. He took me to this blanketed area. Trucks, vans, everything was covered up with a camouflage tarp.
Really?
We drove up underneath it, and I said, what is this? And we're going to go back to the Khe Sanh Valley. It was 2 years after the Marines were overrun in '68. We were going to sneak back in there and provide communications for the Lam Son 719 operation. We called it Operation Hamni, but we actually followed the Corps of Engineers into the Khe Sanh Valley through Route 9. Mm-hmm. They dug holes for us. We dropped our vans right in the hole and covered them up with blankets, more or less, because the radios got too hot. We had to call for air conditioners.
Okay. And
the air conditioners was good to cool our drinks as well. We provided the communications for this operation to support the South Vietnamese Army, who were going in for the last chance they had to prove they were worthy to hold the freedom for their own nation, do it themselves.
Right.
And it was called a successful failure because too many died.
Really?
The operation didn't work. Many came back, they weren't alive in those pickup trucks, those deuce-and-a-halves.
Right.
Some were marching, but we were there, lived in a hole in the ground for 2 months, ate sea rations. We were kind of like isolated, far from our units.
Right.
It was an adventure and yet tragedy, we didn't all come back. But then that's war. War, there's sacrifice.
Now, Chuck, how about you?
Well,
you were, I assume, in the Army as well?
I was in the Army as well. Had the pleasure after leaving high school of being in the draft and it's the first lottery and only a lottery I ever won.
Really?
Yeah, it was number 35.
I was in the draft in 1961, and I was number 2 in the draft in Burlington, Vermont. So
Yeah,
I
was-
got called too.
Yeah, gotcha. But I was number 35, so I went real quickly in 1971.
Okay.
I joined the U.S. Army. Went down to Fort Knox, like Michael did. Took basic training there, then went down to Fort Gordon, same place Michael went, but I went for military police training.
Ah,
And for some reason, they had selected me based on battery tests there that I would be good in military police. I could never.
tall,
really figure
good-looking guy, you
Yeah.
know, back then, and you know.
And somebody liked to fight, so
Yeah, there you go.
It got pretty good. So I got trained after 8 weeks there. Became a military policeman, and then was assigned to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, for about 6 months.
Right.
And then I received orders for Vietnam.
Ah,
And at that particular time, this is 1972 now, that the Paris peace talks were going on.
Okay.
And they were trying to bring the Vietnam War to an end.
right.
So the 747s that were taking MPs were to Vietnam. It was infantry being pulled out of Vietnam. So military police going in, infantry being pulled out. And so we were basically there for providing the security for the country. And
Okay.
my first assignment was standing down the 101st Airborne, then the 1st Air Cav as they left the country, providing security for them as they were leaving.
So basically, our troops are moving out of Vietnam. You're there making sure that they didn't get killed on the way out.
And providing security for the country as the Vietnamese army became stronger, as Mike mentioned, taking over their own country.
Right.
In Vietnam, 1972, it was called the Easter Offensive.
Right.
It started in February, ran through, I believe, September. And it was one of the largest of the Vietnam War, because North Vietnam was coming down, trying to take as much real estate as it could get
Right.
before the Paris peace talk froze
Right.
the land.
Mm-hmm.
So they came in from the north, they came in from the west, come from the west, they came in from Cambodia, they came in from Laos, and we fought for about 8 months there in keeping them out. The
So you were actually in the battles then.
We were providing security for the Saigon area, my
Okay.
unit. Plus, we provided security for all the convoys that were going through Vietnam.
Right.
And I personally drove a V-100, which is an armored personnel carrier
Okay.
that had 3 machine guns on it and a cannon on a turret that
Right.
went around.
You say cannon, was that a 20 millimeter cannon?
3 millimeter.
Yeah.
3 millimeter cannon, and two of them. But armored personnel carrier on wheels, so we could do
Okay.
about 50 miles an hour.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But it was very top heavy, so you don't want to go too fast. So
Yeah.
you flip those things over. But we'd always be the lead into any area with a convoy. And also when Saigon was about 8 million people at that particular time. We had 5 levels of the defense, and we would take the V-100s and other armored vehicles out in the rice paddies and sit there during nighttime and provide security at night for the city as the Easter Offensive was going around our area.
So these Vietnam, the North Vietnamese, and were attempting to infiltrate into Saigon
Yep.
at night, and you guys provided kind of like a perimeter
to keep them from
around
running
the
it.
city.
Right, that's right. Our unit back in 1968, it was 10 of 68 that happened when the North Vietnamese made a major attack in Saigon.
Right.
And the 716th ended up repelling the intruders at that particular time.
Right.
In fact, this helmet we have here has all the names of the 716th Military Police that has been killed in Vietnam. The majority of them was in the Tet of 68
Wow.
in that battle there. It's 38 names engraved on this helmet.
Yeah, I see a lot of 68 dates on there.
So it goes from, starts from, actually our unit got away in 1964, and they stayed all the way through 1974 when they
Wow.
finally pulled out. But we were located on the Tonson Air Force Base, MACV headquarters, and that was a base of operations, and we covered everywhere in Saigon. There's another portion of Saigon called Cholan. It used to be called Cholan, which was Chinese.
Right.
Moved in,
Right.
and we're down in there, and we provided security for that city, just like a normal police city. They had their own called consorts,
Right.
that they would go out, and then they had their military police also give protection
Right,
and
right.
doing all that. But we had quite a few embassies in Saigon that we provided security for, U.S. Embassy, Australian Embassy,
Right.
different ones. Most of my patrols that I did were combined forces, so it would be one American, one Australian, one Vietnamese, and one Korean.
Really?
The four of us would travel in jeeps and go around the city when we provide.
You guys all speak English?
We would speak pretty well English. At the particular time, I could speak Vietnamese to get me by.
Really? Well, that's cool.
Over 40 years ago, it's kind of gone away by me. But
Yeah, I
worked-
used to speak French too, and I
Yeah.
can't speak it anymore.
But working with the Vietnamese on a daily basis, you start picking up
Sure.
the language and learning
Right.
what they're doing, and it becomes a necessity after a while.
So how long were you there? Were you there like 2 years or?
I arrived in February,
Right.
and I left in November. I got injured, and
Oh.
so I was sent home. But
Okay.
our work day was basically a 18-hour day. We would spend 12 hours doing our primary assignment, then we'd go on 6 hours of alert. We're basically a radio alert. Something happened, you would go out and
Right.
do something. During one of those radio alerts, the Australian embassy was under attack, and I was in a gun jeep that was responding to that.
A gun
And-
jeep?
A gun jeep.
Oh, gun jeep.
Yep, gun jeep. 50 caliber machine gun
Right.
with 4 MPs in it, and we got rammed as we're responding back to the Australian, and our jeep rolled over quite a few times and messed up my legs.
Wow.
But the driver, he got a broken leg. Guys in the back both got broken backs. But we think we found the sapper that was attacking the Australian embassy. He was killed, and he was driving a Volkswagen Beetle. They hit the side of our jeep and started flipping us. He was dead, but we found explosives in his car. So
Oh, really?
we think he was the guy we were looking for, because this was about 10 o'clock at night, and there's an 8 o'clock curfew
Yeah.
in Vietnam, where nobody can be on the streets after 8 o'clock. It just gets
So
dark
this
out there.
guy's driving around.
He's
in
driving out with no lights on. We're driving with no lights on, and we just boom.
Really?
So we met as we're getting there. So that was the end of my tour in Vietnam. After that, and I came home
Wow.
and was relieved from the service, and after that worked for General Motors for 32 years. So
Well, that's great.
recently retired.
Now, how about you? You got any exciting stories like that?
Yeah.
Or is
well,
anything you want to talk about? Let's put it that way.
Well,
I know a lot of people don't like to
I
talk
think-
about the.
Chuck was there a little after me.
Okay.
And he was experiencing the de-escalation, they call it,
Right.
of the Vietnam War. But I got to leave it before him, and I was home 2 weeks, and Quang Tri, where I was stationed, was overrun by the North.
Oh.
So we felt the heat. I mean, night after night, I'd lay in bed and listen to the B-52s rumbling behind the mountains. We were,
Yeah.
you know, it was serious war going on up there.
They dropped a lot of ordnance there, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Yes. I had-
B-52s. They carpet bombed, and they also they did a lot of napalm bombing there too, didn't they? Not the B-52s didn't do that, but the
napalms didn't do the
was it?
napalm. That was more
no,
the
that was the fighter jets. that
fighter
would do
jets.
that.
Fighter
Yeah,
jets
fighter
and
jets.
helicopters would rain down rockets and other firepower. That's
Yeah.
just incredible.
I had a couple buddies that I worked with that used to fly helicopters over there, and both of them had gotten shot down and rescued.
Right.
You know, so it was a pretty nasty war.
All right. Well, in Vietnam, there's not a lot of, at the particular time when we were over there, was not a lot of roads. They had
No.
one main highway, Highway 1, that ran from north to south, but there's, like in the cities around here, you can go anywhere. There
Right.
you walked everywhere, you went by trails. So for the Army or anybody else for transportation, we went by helicopter, point A or B,
Yeah.
or by ship. We have the rivers that we would drove by. They had river boats similar to the PT boats that went up and down the rivers that would transport us from point A to point B.
I had a friend, a good friend right now, that used to be on a Navy ship, and they were offshore bombarding what they could reach, you know, from the sea, which was kind of interesting.
Oh, yes.
And well, he's back now, obviously, and but he's pretty proud of his service, but not like you guys in the trenches, you know.
Oh, we loved those Navy guys
Yeah.
in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were there. So they were there to support us.
Yep.
We'd radio call them and say, we need help here. We need a strike there. You know, we could hear those jets are just warm your heart
Yeah.
going over.
As long as they bomb the right place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's some accidents that take place, but yeah, I mean, it's got to be difficult to pinpoint exactly where you want the guys to strike.
Well, usually if you brought in like helicopters come in or even airplanes, that you would try to make markers out there with smoke.
Yeah.
Tell them where to go.
Uh-huh.
And it's unfortunately when a jet comes in, they release their napalm, release the bombs. It doesn't release properly, then it doesn't hit what's supposed to hit. And
Right.
you have friendly fire
Right.
kills. So, by using your radio, having our radios and our equipment, that we could call them, and within minutes, we would have air support.
Yeah.
Anytime you get into a battle, because we were all military police, we get into a battle. We could only last for so long before we were in trouble. So we would put the call out, and you said there's ships out there. There's aircraft carriers,
Right.
helicopters on them with Marines. That within 30 minutes they would be there to back us up. We have to live. Our general rule is we had to last for 30 minutes and we could get back up.
Really?
Yeah. So.
That's fantastic.
But there was nobody in country to back us up. So except the
Right.
Vietnamese.
Huh.
So, but they came in a few times to help us out.
Well, Jim Hubbard was on that kind of assignment. He's kind of a backup team, and he
Jim was in the early part of the
Right.
Vietnam War, and they were on their search and destroy missions.
right. Well,
up
he
in this
he
areas.
told me that basically he was the guy who would go in and rescue. If a unit got in trouble,
Yep.
they would helicopter these guys
Yep.
in, and they would relieve them from the pressure.
Yep.
And so that's a pretty difficult
he was-
job,
he
because he
was-
said he was going 24 hours a day
Yep.
practically.
Yeah, he was part of the infantry units they had at the time.
Right.
And they were constantly chasing out in the jungles,
Right.
the Vietnamese. Randy Stenson, another one of our VFW members.
Yeah, I've talked to him as well.
He was another one, they basically called his unit the bird dogs, that they would go out and try to flush out, like you do in hunting. His unit go flush them out. As they would turn around and start fighting them, other units would come in and assist.
Right, right.
So, there are different parts of the war, different elements that we got involved in. So,
Yeah.
But pretty good.
So anyway, in terms of, let's talk about the VFW a little bit.
Absolutely.
You guys are both members of the VFW.
Yes.
And what is the Oakland?
North Oakland County Post, Post 334.
Okay,
We meet on the first Tuesday of second Tuesday of each month at the Christ the King Church in Oxford on Drainer Road.
okay, yeah,
And we're there from
Oh, wow.
6 o'clock to about 9 o'clock, and we meet there every month. We have an honor guard that's there, does local funerals. We were up at Sparks Griffin the funeral home this past Sunday for a funeral.
mm-hmm.
Last Tuesday, we usually go the third Tuesday of the month up to the National Cemetery in Holly, Michigan.
I was going to ask you about that, whether you support that
Yeah,
as well.
We support, and this past week we did 6 funerals we did up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Any particular day you can run, I think the most we've ever done is 12 in one day.
Wow.
And we've had low as maybe 2, but at the National Cemetery, there's about 33,000 veterans buried up there with their spouses.
That's amazing. I
Up
didn't
there,
realize
yeah.
it was that big.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, beautiful
Yeah.
place. In fact, we're going to have some of our members this Friday go up to the National Cemetery where we go out and put flags in front of all those tombstones in preparation for Memorial Day.
How many?
It's about 33,000.
You put flags
Put flags up.
on everyone?
As many as they have flags for.
Wow,
but
that's amazing.
And it's a big effort by the community.
Right.
Not only you have the VFW posts across this area going up there, but you got the American Legion, you have Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, everybody comes out and
Right.
helps out because it gets it done. We start about 10 a.m. and by 1 o'clock that cemetery should be done.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So
So that's all done for Memorial Day.
it's Memorial Day. They celebrate Memorial Day on another day of the week, but this coming Sunday
Right.
at 1 p.m. and there'll probably be 3,000 people up there for that ceremony.
That's
Beautiful,
fantastic.
beautiful ceremony they put on.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave out the young Marines.
Yeah,
They're
we have a group. Group we support is the Young Marines of Oakland County, North Oakland County.
I'm really
Who's
proud
your,
of those boys.
Right.
Randy Stenson, or Cecil
Cecil.
Cameron is our commander.
He's the guy who's been in how many years and is now a corporal?
He's he's
I give him
Marine.
grief every time
Yeah.
I see him. You
Yeah.
see, because he's the Marine. And,
He's a
you know, I
Marine.
keep telling him that the Marines are part of the Navy, and he never believed me. See.
Yeah, he likes to say the Navy's our taxi cab. Yeah. But
Well, anyway, we have a lot of fun with him.
yeah, young Marines. They're a bunch of young boys, from ages 8 to 16. But they go out and like this Saturday up in Leonard, it's Lakeville Cemetery. City of Leonard is putting out a Memorial Day ceremony, and the young Marines will participate in there.
And the North Oakland Concert Band will participate,
In
which I'm a member of.
Ah,
Great.
So I've played there for the last 3 or 4 years. I'm not going to make it this year
Yeah.
because I'm going to be out of town. But that's a great event.
yep.
And
And-
not only is it, you know, a memorial event, but it's also a nice meal after too, right?
Yes, they have a very, very nice lunch afterwards up there.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very old cemetery, and it's on Drainer Road, I believe. And,
Yeah, it is.
It's up there.
Right.
Very, very, very nice ceremony. Then on Monday, we have down in Oxford at 10 o'clock, they have a memorial down in Centennial Park. Then they have a parade afterwards. And at the same time down in Lake Orion, we're having a parade and also a 5K run is being held this year.
Wow.
And at the Orion Veterans Memorial at 1:30, there will be a Memorial Day celebration. Our VFW supports all those activities
Yeah.
that we're doing.
That's great.
Right there.
And I think ONTV is going to be taking part in that as well.
Yes, I believe so.
So we'll get you some coverage after the fact. You know, show some video of all the events. So OMTV does a lot in terms of supporting a lot of the local organizations. Are you guys involved with the memorial in downtown Lake Orion?
We support, our post supports financially that
Right.
memorial, plus we're there anytime there's any like Memorial Day, we're there in full support.
Right.
Our honor guard goes there and usually posts the colors, and our members show up and give
Okay.
support. Bob Watros is one of our VFW members. He's the manager of the
Okay.
memorial, and he goes out there on a daily basis, keeps everything pristine. It looks very, very nice. And one of the things we're doing right now is we're going out to the public. We're planning on putting a dog memorial at the Orion Veteran Memorial and looking for the public support. And
Right.
it's going to be this beautiful, it started as one dog, but I think now it's going to be 2 dogs.
Really?
And based on some sandbags, it's going to be placed right there with all the veterans memorials that we have down there.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, of all the memorials I've seen around the country, this has got to be one of the classiest I've ever seen.
It's one of the.
It is absolutely a fantastic job. And Dr. Master Mateo
Dr. Mr. Mateo.
is a real supporter.
Yep.
And I guess he's been involved almost since day one, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And we've also talked to him on our show.
Yep. Dr. Joe's another one of our VFW members.
Yeah.
And I think the main was Joe Zakwich.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah,
We've also talked to Joe.
Yeah, Joe. He was the main driver and fundraiser and
Yeah.
the whole thing of the memorial, from my understanding.
Well,
he was there before my time.
His contribution, is, from what I can understand, is the Peacoat Memorial.
Yes.
That was done for the people that got killed on the ship.
Yeah.
And the story, I actually had an opportunity to interview him here about that, and also went on the internet and found an actual video of the Japanese kamikaze plane hitting his ship.
Wow. Wow.
And
Amazing.
so that was an amazing interview. Joe was a very, very good guy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I guess we've lost him now.
We have lost him a few years ago.
But there's some great stories from Joe about, you know, the kamikaze plane hitting his ship, losing, I think it was like 60 people on the
Buried
ship.
at sea. Yep.
And they were all buried at sea.
Yep.
So, anything else you guys want to discuss about either the VFW, the memorial, what's going on? Don't you have some kind of a car show coming up?
Yes, on July 29th, down at Lake Orion Culvers. We're going to have our first annual car show.
Okay.
First one we're going to try. We're hoping the public comes down there and joins us, and we're expecting around 400 cars
Really?
to show up there. And to bring your car there, it's a free event, and we ask you that you come hungry.
Really?
And support the Culvers down there, because they're helping us out by giving us that area to
Right.
the car show.
Right. Well, I know they support a lot of local events. They do a real great job.
Yep, that they do.
You going to have any Humvees there? Are you going to have any?
I don't think we have any military vehicles,
No?
but we have a lot of nice old vehicles coming out and going through there.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll probably having some of our members. We all walk around. The last few weeks, you could see us around town
Right.
with our poppies looking for donations.
I got mine, but I didn't wear it today.
Yeah, but the poppy is actually derived. A lot of people don't know. It actually came from World War I
Right.
in Flanders Field over in Belgium,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a poem written about it. And ever since, around the world, all different countries, during the various parts of the year, they have poppy drives to get donations,
Right.
which comes the funding for the VFW for all the veteran relief and community programs that we do.
Right.
And we just wrapped this up here for the last 2 weeks. We've been in the Lake Orion area doing our poppy drive.
Right. Now the money that's collected because of the poppies, where does that go?
100% of it is vested back into either the community and or veteran programs
Great.
that we help veterans.
Yeah.
In like the community, we help sponsor the senior all-night party for the seniors at Lake Orion High School.
Oh, yeah.
We
Great.
just helped out the Pollyanna Trail, was looking for some big trash containers.
Right.
So we donated some money out there to get some trash containers, because people coming out throwing their trash anywhere.
So most of the money is kept local,
Yep.
and
It's
it's all events or all things that help the community.
We do support the National Home for Children
Oh yeah.
Okay.
in Eden Rapids.
Okay.
We have one home in particular that a Michigan home, we call it,
Yeah.
Okay.
a family.
Yeah,
there.
the Eaton Rapids was called the National Home for Children. It has 46 houses. It's actually built like a subdivision out in the middle of cornfields. It was built up donated during right after World War II.
Right.
And there's a house out there for every state in the United States. There's 46 because a couple of houses combined in a couple states.
Uh-huh.
But each one is for, like we have a Michigan house, there's an Ohio house, there's
Now, who stays
Minnesota's.
in these houses? Is this
This is military people who are in need.
Okay.
It could be you lost a spouse in, say, the Afghanistan war,
okay?
and their family is in distress, so the family and the children are brought in, and the VFW pays 100% of the cost
Wow,
while they're there.
that's fantastic.
Most of the families stay an average like 4 years, where
Really?
the training up there, they get them, because they're paying them for go to school, they're paying them to
Uh-huh.
get the children, they take care of the children going to school, and they also take care of the spouse or
Wow.
VFW member, not VFW, but military member, and get them training so they can leave there and start up on their own again.
That's fantastic.
There's about approximately 100 children up in this national home that we go at, but it's totally 100% funded by the VFW.
That's fantastic.
And we have another camp on the other side of the state called Camp Trotter, where we take disadvantaged children and send them to camp for a week.
Wow.
And so we have a program for that. We have a program at around Thanksgiving. I think we had 15 families in Lake Orion. We provided a Thanksgiving meal for them, so
Oh,
they
that's
would have
great.
a Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah.
Christmas time, I think we had, I think it was 5 or 10 families that we helped out at Christmas time.
Right.
Make sure they
Right.
had
Right.
a proper Christmas. So we do a lot of things out in the community, but we do it all based on the funds we raise from our poppy sales.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're just about out of time. So Chuck and Mike, we certainly want to thank you very much for joining us today
Well, thank you, Joe.
on our active living. And thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you again.